Hello, and welcome back to Soul Speak, the podcast for teens. I am your host, Emily Miller, Teen Intuitive. So, today we are going to continue on a little bit more with balance. So, last week we talked about balance and seeing things as Source sees them. So, I hope that you guys were able to find some different circumstances and situations in your life where you were able to find how things are in perfect balance, that there is not all good or all bad in the things that are happening in your life with the people, places, situations, circumstances, things, all of that in your body, all of the things. So, a little bit more about balance today and how you are going to use balance to be able to take a little bit more control and how you will see how you can create your reality with this balance. So, the first spiritual kind of thing that I experienced outside of organized religion. Because growing up, my dad, who I lived with some different parts of time throughout my childhood and my teen years, his family and him were very religious. And it was kind of something that was just a part of my life. I didn't really subscribe to all the beliefs that I had learned, and I just felt like there were some missing pieces. I didn't feel like it was the complete story, and like all the instructions weren't there. There were some pieces missing ultimately. And so I knew that there was like a higher power. I knew that there was a being greater than me who had a grand plan. I just didn't know who it was and how it was going to make sense in my life, and why also did this person, this or being I should say, who, like, I was told wanted the best for me, told me that I had to behave a certain way or be a certain way. And if I wasn't those ways that I was being taught, then I was a bad person. And that just didn't sit well with me. I knew that there was a different way to view spirituality outside of the organized religion that I had been exposed to. I knew that there was something that I was in search of to fill in those missing pieces. So I would say in my early to mid 20s, I was watching an episode of Oprah, which I think all of you guys know who Oprah is. But just in case, she had a talk show and it came on, I think, at like 4 o'clock every single day. And I was watching an episode of Oprah and she was talking about The Secret. She had the author of The Secret on, which was a book. And then I believe it became like a little movie. And in The Secret, their big thing, the big idea of The Secret was positive thinking. And with positive thinking, you could achieve anything, everything. And all you had to do was just think positively, just have good thoughts. It was like that simple. And um I I really kind of like loved that idea that like positive thoughts and filling your head with things that feel good would lead to good results. I thought that made a lot of sense at that time. And another idea that they had from The Secret was this little saying: ask, believe, receive. So if you had these positive thoughts and you asked the universe for what you wanted and believed that you were going to get it, then you would receive it. And it was that simple. That was like the only thing you had to do: ask, believe, receive, and you'd get, $1 billion. So that idea, both of those things really like resonated with me. And I was like, okay, this makes sense. Like, it's not, they're not telling you that you can't be who you want to be, that you should, change the way that you are. And what harm is it going to do to have positive thoughts? Like, that can't, there's nothing bad in that, right? So that was the first kind of like spiritual learnings that I had, and because I read the book and of course watched the movie after the fact. And I was like, okay, this is some good information. This sounds more aligned with what I think should be happening in the universe. So those two ideas are really good ideas, but they are also missing some information. And if you can remember what I said from the last episode and about your um, thoughts about things being good or bad, and that, as source sees them, nothing is all good, nothing is all bad. It's equal parts of both. It's equal good, equal bad. So thinking positive thoughts, while it is an amazing thing to do, it's still missing some things, because you can't just sit and think positive thoughts and like things just pop out of nowhere. It's just not going to happen. But if you have these like positive thoughts and you are thinking how things are good and finding the good in bad situations, then we are like making some headway. We're making some movement. You can really like change the way that you have been thinking if you are starting to realize that all situations are good and bad, or if you think that they're bad, that they have good in them. So thinking positive thoughts is not enough. And it's also something that, as human beings, is kind of impossible, because if we were to just only, like literally only think positive thoughts and think things to be good, we would be out of balance. And also, we would never see any way to grow. We would never see anything that we wanted to maybe change to achieve more. So think, if you never ever experienced like a negative emotion and you only thought positive emotions, you wouldn't know what a negative emotion was. So if you never felt things that didn't feel good, then you wouldn't know how to feel the good things, if that makes sense. And if you're only thinking good things and not seeing how things could change or grow or become better, you would kind of just be stagnant. And what would happen if you were just still stagnant, not moving, not growing, not getting better, not achieving more, not changing lives, not doing anything except just sitting and thinking how great life was? But that's it. So, seeing the positive in things, while it is amazing and wildly beneficial, it's missing the other half. It's missing the whole part of seeing like the negative in things, so that you know how you want to grow and change and be. And we want to ultimately, in life, see things as source sees them, in perfect balance. Because if you remember in the last episode, whenever we see things in perfect balance and we realize that things are perfect in that way, then we get more perfect. We get more things that are exactly in balance and are exactly what we need and what we desire. So that's the first thing that's kind of missing from a lot of spiritual teachings, because it's not just The Secret that teaches that. It's a lot of spiritual knowledge that's out there on TikTok and Instagram and Twitter or X or whatever. Those kind of things are put out there to kind of keep you from achieving like true spiritual alignment. And we'll get into why somebody may or want to do that to keep you down. We'll have a whole episode about that. But just know that that information, to just think good thoughts and everything good will come, is not enough. It's missing parts, it's missing pieces, and that information was put out very intentionally to keep you from knowing what I'm telling you, and that everything is equal, in balance, and perfect as source sees it. So that's one part of that. The second part, the ask, believe, receive part, is also no good. While it's a good idea and it's a good thing to think like, oh, yeah, that's cool. Like, all I have to do is ask, believe, and then I'll receive it. That's so easy. Like, but it's missing another part too. So you can ask and you can believe. So you can get really clear on the things that you desire in this lifetime. There is nothing bad about that. Um, it is amazing to have like dreams and goals and aspirations and things that you want to achieve in this lifetime, whether they're spiritual or physical. If they're physical things like money, houses, cars, trips, all those things, like we're put on this earth to experience. And so, what I was just saying with the whether they're spiritual wants or physical wants, both of those are we're meant to experience on this planet, because we are living in a like 3D world where everything around us is physical. And if you remember from the Creator Field episode, in order to get those physical things, the matter, to respond to us how we want it to respond, the physical world to respond to us how we want it to respond to us, we have to have the spiritual part too. So the spiritual part is very, very important, but there's also a physical part that has to be put into it as well. We live in a world that is 50% spiritual and 50% physical. And so to achieve that perfect balance that we want, you not only have to have this physical or this spiritual stuff in alignment and on the right path, you also have to take physical actions. And so, if you are just, let's say, sitting in a room and you've learned about manifestation, right? That's like a like a key like catchphrase people use. Oh, I manifested that. You know, it's 11:11, manifest this or whatever. But it takes more than what a lot of people tell you to manifest things in life, to create things in life, and to allow things in life. Um, People will say, you know, meditating is all you have to do. Just go into a quiet space, close your eyes, lie down, take some deep breaths, listen to some person's guided meditation, and visualize. So, or journal about it, write it out, visualize it, journal it, and it'll come to you. You don't need to do anything, you just need to sit and wait, right? But sitting and waiting in a physical world and only doing the spiritual part of it, the, you know, non-physical stuff is not going to bring physical things to you. So sometimes that stuff does work. And I don't know about you, but for me, I don't want things to sometimes work. I want to know that every time I desire something, every time I feel like something isn't happening in the way that I know in my heart that my life is supposed to go, I want to know that if I take these steps, then I will get what it is that I desire. I don't want to sometimes, I want to all the time. And so sometimes if you're using some of these, maybe sometimes well meaning or not manifestation techniques about visualizing and sitting, and all you have to do is sit and visualize it, then it will come to you. If you're doing that and then maybe you receive one of those things out of 10 that you're trying to manifest, the universe or source will kind of like throw you a bone. They'll be like, here you go, take this, maybe this will give you a little bit of hope, or this will give you a little bit of a, you're so down in the dumps of things, you're so down in the dredges of this, emotional state. Here, take this little thing, this will brighten you up for a little while, but it's not going to be something that lasts. So you could manifest somebody giving you $100, right? And that worked. But then you're like, okay, that was cool. I want that $100 again. And you're just sitting, asking, believing, and waiting to receive. And then the $100 never comes, right? So you're kind of then like realizing, all right, some parts of this are working, but it's not working all the time. And I want it to work all the time. That is why you are here with me. So I can show you how to do all of these things and show you the parts that you're missing, right? Um, so because we're in this like 3D world, we need to take physical actions in order to create physical things. And whenever you get your beliefs into alignment and you get all the spiritual stuff into alignment, then you will be able to open up pathways in the physical world. So you will get maybe like a little pull to go to a certain place or call a certain person, or you might get a little just idea that comes into your head and you're like, I should go do that. And those things are going to be what I will call like inspired action. You're not just doing something because someone on TikTok told you to do it, and you're not just doing something because of, out of for no reason. You will get these inspired ideas to take action in a way that is aligned with the beliefs that you are creating. So these will be communications from higher self and source showing you like, okay, you're here. This is good. Like you're thinking all the good things, feeling all the good things, believing all the good things. Now go do this so that you can get the physical things that you want to keep you in alignment and put you in the path to all the things that you desire. So these inspirations, these ideas, these pulls that you will get are like divinely inspired. They're inspired by source. They're inspired by higher self. And they're things that will take you and lead you to all of the things that you want. Because sitting in a room asking and just believing and hoping and praying like that you're going to get something without taking action just won't happen. And like I said, it might happen, one time out of 10 that you're trying these, but it's not going to be every time. So just having the realization that, outside of along with the balance of knowing that we live in this world where everything and is the way that source sees it, where it's 50% equal parts good, equal parts bad, and that even all the bad things have good things in them, and it's just a perspective or perception, and you can change the way that you think about things. And then knowing also that once you start feeling and thinking and believing in that way, then you will be able to take actions in your physical world that will lead you on the path that you are supposed to be on. And so, a lot of times, instead of calling it like manifestation, I'll call it creating or even allowing, because source and higher self, like I've said before, have this gorgeous plan for you. They created a contract for you, for your life on this earth to do, be, have amazing things, to feel good, to be able to have like ultimate experiences in this lifetime. And I'll say that it's allowing because this plan is already in place. We just have to get into alignment to allow source and higher self to put these things in front of us and allow us to take action on these things that allow us to have these beautiful, gorgeous lives. And so the more that you can just understand that we are getting these communications from source and higher self and showing us how we should be acting in this world, then that will help us get onto alignment. You can't get what you want by sitting on the floor, legs crossed, deep breathing. You got to take some action. And so, whenever we put all of these missing pieces into the puzzle that I've explained today, you can see how you're able to take more control over the reality that you are experiencing, over the physical things that you get in this 3D world. So, this week, I want you to not only realize that we're in balance in the good and the bad in the way that we perceive things, but also keep in mind that we are in a physical world and we must take as much physical action as we do spiritual action. So think about, or just don't think about, I want you to pay attention to little inspired actions that you might get ideas, inspirations, pulls, things that you could maybe do this week. And just keep your mind open for that. And thank you again. Thank you for being here with me for Soul Speak this week. We'll be back again next week with more life changing information. I hope you have a gorgeous, gorgeous week.